Welcome everybody. Today we have a back and core strength style workout. The weights for this workout are completely adjustable and I will guide you through what I am using to help you gauge. So since majority of what we are doing is unilateral, I decided to up the weight and use weighted bangles. I have 2-pound weighted bangles, so each of these are 2 pounds. And then I also have my 10-pound Bala ring. You are welcome to use dumbbells instead of a Bala ring. Whichever you have on hand will work great for this workout. Majority of the workout will be done in a standing position, so make sure you have your weights on, your mat laid out, and we will get started. So to begin, I'm going to face towards the front of my mat so you can see the stacking of my spine as we move through our warm-up. So if you are using the Bala ring, you'll grab it all the way at the bottom so it looks like this. If you have dumbbells, just hold them with your palms facing towards your body. So we start with integrity through the spine, and we'll take a moment here to center and to align. Perhaps you take a big inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. Preparing the mind and the body for focus and concentration. Connect to the breath. One more full round. Then find a natural cadence with the breath. We start our warm-up. So make sure your feet are planted into the earth, ground down through all 4 corners of the feet, integrity through the spine. Then start to tuck the chin to the chest, lift up through the knees to engage the quads. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, you'll release the stack as you roll forward. You'll come into a forward fold, then once you reach the bottom, just reverse it. Make sure you knit the ribs in and there's still engagement through the core as you stack yourself back up. So it's kind of like a standing Pilates roll down. So chin to chest and complete the roll into a forward fold. Then you reverse, stack vertebrae by vertebrae. So for those who are familiar with weightlifting or strength training, you may recognize that this looks very similar to a Jefferson curl. There's a few different components of a Jefferson curl, but it is similar. We'll move through a few more here. Slow and controlled. Taking inventory of what's going on in the body, the posterior chain, neck down through the back, all the way down the back of the legs to the feet. We have one more. And then we'll come right back up. So another warm up to warm up the back. We will take our Bala ring, or if you have dumbbells, just grab the ends of it. Begin to bend at the knees, hinge forward, lower the weight down towards the mat, and we'll do a roll. So you'll bend the elbows, bring them back towards the hips, lower down, bend, bring them back, lower down. Check in with the core, knit the ribs in. Check in with the weight in the feet. Weight will be a little bit more towards the heels. Just a few more here. Again, we're warming up. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Bring yourself all the way up to standing. So we'll start with our first superset. I'm going to be diagonal so that you have a good view of my body positioning. So again, check in with the 4 corners of the feet. Make sure you're grounded, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. We'll have the weight only in one hand to start. The other hand can either be on top of the respective thigh or you can bring it behind the back, whichever's more comfortable for you. Neutral neck, weight is down. Then bend at the elbow, bring it in towards the hip, just like we did in our row. This time it's a single arm row. Bring it back towards the hip, lower down, bring it back, lower down. So again, we want to check in with our core here, knit the ribs in, make sure it's strong. And I don't only mean the abdomen whenever I'm talking about the core, I also mean the back and the sides. Now we'll definitely do some oblique work today, so there will be a full core connection. Keep moving, we have a few more. Full range of movement, last 3, last 2, last 1, lower the weight. We lift all the way up, give the low back a break. I'm going to spin and face you. Weight stays in the same hand. And then we have a one-sided oblique crunch. So we lift over towards the right, come back to center. So as you bend, you're lifting up through the spine and bending over. Sometimes people like to imagine that they are bending over a beach ball. If that works for you, you can definitely keep that picture in your mind. Now, to start, we have the left hand on the side. If at any point you feel like you need a little bit more for the left arm, you can always bring the left arm out to the side, or you can even reach left arm overhead as you bend. So there's lots of adjustments and modifications you can do here. I am starting with a left arm down to the side. We have 2 more. Last one. Then we'll go right back into our row. So make sure you have your feet grounded, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips, lower the weight, bring it back as you bend through the elbow. So we'll move back and forth in our superset. So for all of our supersets today, we have 3 rounds. And again, majority of our exercises today are unilateral. So once we are done on this side, we will move right into the other side. We're about halfway through on these. A few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Come back to standing, a little bit of a break for the low back. Now, if you want to do a different placement of left arm, you can go ahead and do so. Then we lift up and over towards the right. Come back to center, up and over, back to center, up and over. So nice and controlled here. And you can also play around with your foot placement. So the wider your feet are, the more stable you will feel. The closer your feet are, the less stable you will feel. However your feet are positioned, make sure your quads are still engaged and you're zipping up through the inner thighs. Last 2 here. Last 1. We have 1 more set of a single arm row on this side, so find your positioning, hinge, bend, lower the weight, bring it back. Lower down, bring it back, lower down, and bring it back. Keep moving here. Keep breathing. Stay focused. Control the lift and lower of the weight equally. We have a few more here. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. We come back to standing. We have our side bends. Again, your choice of what you would like to do with left arm. Lift and bend. Come back to center. Again, lift up through the spine as you bend. Create space. Back through center. Keep moving here. Connect with the breath. Notice how the breath helps you not only stay centered, but also in control. About halfway through these. We have a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1, and then we're going to move to the other side. So come back to standing, lower left arm. Now we switch the weight into left hand. Find the foot placement, bend at the knees, hinge through the hips. Again, anything you want to do with your right hand, go ahead and do so. Lower the weight and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. So connect all through the body. Check in. Do you have a neutral neck? Are your ribs knitting in? Are you pulling with your back and your lats? Is elbow coming back towards left hip? Keep moving. Keep breathing. Just a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1 here. Come all the way up to standing, and then we have our side bends. So to start, my right hand is going to stay by my right side. It's up to you what you would like to do. We lift, create space through the spine, and bend. Come back to center. Lift, create space through the spine, and bend. Come back to center. Keep moving just like that. So we're doing the exact same thing that we did on the other side. 3 sets on this side. Heat is definitely building through the body. I don't know about you, but I'm already feeling the sweat dripping down. Check in with your legs. Are they engaged? What can you change? Last few here. We have 3 more. Last 2. Last 1, and then we go right into the row. So this time I'm going to stay facing forward, a little bit of a different angle, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips, lift the weight back towards the hip. Lower down, bring it back, lower down, bring it back. Now make sure that your eyes are in a position where you can keep your neck neutral. Again, weight is a little bit more back in the heels. Stay focused. Mind-muscle connection here. The continuous movement creates a type of a flow. So that's another Pilates principle that we're bringing into this strength workout. Last 2, 1 more here. We come back up to standing, right into the side bends, create space through the spine. You can lift your right arm this time if you would like. Come back to center, create space and bend. Come back to center, create space and bend, back to center. Keep moving, control, check in with the legs. You may have seen me engage my quads by lifting my kneecaps there. Sometimes the cues are for me, not only for you. About halfway through on this side. Let's keep moving. Stay connected. Last few here. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. It's our last set of rows. Bend at the knees, hinge at the hips, lower the weight, then bend the elbow, bring the weight back, and release. Bend the elbow, bring the weight back towards the hip, and release. Keep moving. So at this point, you're probably very comfortable with the movement. We've done quite a few sets of these. And then we'll have a similar position for the next superset. So it'll be very familiar for you. That familiarity is intentional to help keep you focused, so you're not thinking about too many different components. Almost done here. Last two. Last one. We come up to standing. Last round of side bends. You can lift the other arm if you would like. Create space and bend. Come back to center. Create space and bend. Come back to center. Keep moving. Controlled breathing. Perhaps you close your eyes to really focus on the mind-muscle connection here. Last few rounds here. We have 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Bring yourself back to center. Weight comes back into the right hand. So we have another single arm row with a little bit of a different hand placement and positioning. So I am going to start diagonal for this first round, and then I'll move towards the front of the camera so you can make sure you have different angles of my positioning. So same thing like we did before, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. This time, instead of the palm facing in towards midline of the body, it's going to face towards the front of the body. It's a wide row, so you'll lift your elbow up in line with the shoulder and lower down. Lift the elbow so it comes out towards the right. Lower down, lift, and lower. So as you lift your right arm, you might notice that your torso wants to spin towards the right. The challenge here is to keep your shoulders and your chest framing down towards the mat, in line with your knees and your hips. There's going to be a lot of core engagement here to help assist that. Just a few more. Last 2 here. Control it for your last one. Release, come to standing. This time, weight comes in both hands. Weight is overhead. We have a march. Lift your right leg, lower down, lift left, lower down. Lift right, lower down, lift left, lower down. Lift right, lift left, lift right, lift left. Keep moving here. A few more on each side. We're going to switch up this superset a little bit. So this time, when we come down and we're finished with the marches, our weight will go into our opposite hand. So it'll go into our left hand. So last one to the right, last one to the left. So I'll spin towards the left. Weight is in left hand, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. Palm is back. Lift the weight up, lower, lift up, lower. Keep moving here. Again, notice is your torso twisting towards the left as you row towards the left. Really use your core here, so it'll be not only your abdomen, but your obliques and your mid and low back to help keep you framing over the hips and knees. A couple more. Last 2. Last 1. We come right back up to standing again, right into the march. So we're going back and forth here. So we do one side of rows into a march, other side of rows into the march. So you might notice that your heart rate is going to lift even more here. You can always drop weight if you need. Find your breath. Each time you lift, make sure you're using your core to help lift your leg. We have a few more to each side, and then we go right into our wide arm row on right side. Last one to the right, last one to the left, Lower the weight, lower down. This time I'll stay facing you. Weight is in right hand, palm towards the back, bend the knees, hinge the hips, lift the weight and lower. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Neutral neck. Try not to rush the movement. Last few here. We have 3, 2, last 1. Come to standing, weight overhead, right into the march. You got it. So we went through 1 full round. We're on our 2nd round here. So you know exactly where we're going, exactly what we're doing. If you want to challenge your balance, you can close your eyes. So there's many options for you to level up or level down here in this workout. Take whichever works best for you. We have 1 more to each side, last to the right, last to the left. Lower the weight down, bend the knees, hinge the hips, weights in left hand. Row, release, row, release, row, release. Keep moving. Keep breathing. Keep your concentration and your focus. We control the weight up just as much as we control it down. Just a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Come back up to standing, weight in both hands, overhead, find your march. Woo. Yes, you can. Keep with it. If you weren't sweating before, I'm sure you are now. I know I am. I'm right here with you this whole entire time. Then we have 1 more wide arm row, 2 each side, and then we move on to our last superset. Dig deep here. Few more. You can do it. Last one to the right. Last one to the left. Lower down. Weight comes into a right hand, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. Row, release, row, release. Very important to keep control of the weight. You can always lower the weight. Tune into your breath. A few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Come up to standing, weight overhead. We find our march. Yes, you can. Dig deep, find strength. It's what we came here for, right? To build strength, not only of the body, but of the mind. You can do it. I would rather you lower weight than to quit. A few more to each side. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lower the weight, it's in the left hand, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. We find our position, row, release, row, release, row, release. Try to keep with that tempo or even slower. Again, control the lift as much as the lower. We're about halfway through, maybe a little bit more. Last few here. Give me 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. We have 1 more round of marching. Lift up, weight overhead. Yes, you can. Finish strong here. See if you can bring your knees a little bit higher. Use your abdominals to lift the legs. Yes, you can. Put a smile on. Dig deep. I'm right here with you. We have a few more. Last 3 to each side right here. Last 2. Last 1. Woo. Lower your weight. Drop it down. We are done with the heavier weight. So now we just have either weighted bangles or a lower weight. So this time our feet will come wide. Right toes will face towards long side of the mat. Left toes face towards short side of the mat. Bend at left knee and then rest your left arm on top of your left knee. You might have to heel toe right foot out a little bit more to find a proper position. Then you'll lift your right arm overhead. We have kind of like a lat pull down here. So extend the arm long, both legs are engaged through the glutes as well. Then bend the elbows, squeeze, and then release arm back overhead. Bend the elbows, squeeze, engage your right lat. Release arm overhead, bend and squeeze. Keep moving. Keep breathing. So there will be a lot of core and oblique work in this superset. We're going to stay to one side for the 3 rounds, then we'll move to the other side. So you're really gonna have to dig deep here. We came here to work. Just imagine how good and accomplished you will feel when you are done. Last few, and then we move into our second part of the superset. Last 3, last 2, last 1. So we'll extend the arm overhead and then lift it so it's in line with the shoulder. Begin to extend through left leg. So you're in a triangle pose. You'll lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift. Keep moving here. Keep breathing. Whew, lots going on. That light weight is definitely gonna feel heavy pretty quickly. Last 3, last 2, last 1. Then we bend at left knee, extend the arm overhead, find your lat pull. Release, pull, release, pull, and release. So tell me, what's going on with your rib cage? Are you knitting the ribs in? Are your front abdominals engaged? If not, what can you adjust so that they are? So for this particular superset, it's a little bit more of a full body. Obviously, it's a focus on the upper body and the core, but the legs are definitely working and engaged, and so are the glutes. Last few here. We have 3 more. Last 2. Last 1, then you know where we're going. We find that triangle pose with the oblique lift and lower. Keep moving, keep breathing. Right shoulder is definitely starting to burn out. You can always lower the hand down to the waist if you need, if it gets to be too intense. Modify as necessary to not lose your form. Last few. We have 3, 2, 1. Bend left knee, right arm overhead. Last round. Holy moly. Yes, you can. Stay with it. You can always lower the weight and do this with just body weight. Again, modify as you need. Try not to speed it up. I'm sure you're feeling like I am, where we want to go with a little bit of a faster tempo just to get it over with. It's a big challenge there to not. We have a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Find your triangle. Yes, you can. Last round on this side. You got it. Lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift. Keep with it. Again, you can always lower the hand down to the hip. A few more. Last 3. Woo! Last 2. Last 1. Come all the way up. Lower your arms and do a little shoulder roll. Oh my goodness. Definitely gonna need to focus a little bit more on the shoulders as we stretch for our cool down. All right, switch the direction of the shoulder rolls. Okay, you know what we're doing. We go right to the other side. So now, left foot is facing towards the long side of the mat. Right foot faces towards the short side of the mat. We start with the bent knee and right arm resting on right knee. We extend left arm overhead, then we find the row. Extend and row, extend and row. So check on what's going on with the rest of the body. It's pretty easy to go with the extension of the arm and then the bend, but we also want to check on what's going on. I can't even talk right now. We also want to check out what's going on with our feet, our legs, our glutes. What can you adjust? Did you let go of your breath? We have a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1, then you know where we're going. We extend the arm, lift it in line with the shoulder, extend through right leg. We find our triangle, lower and lift. Lower and lift. Squeeze through the glutes. Legs are engaged. Obliques and core are definitely working. All right. Breathe. We have a few more here. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lower down, bend through right knee. Use the support for right arm, and then we bend left arm. Extend, bend, extend, bend, extend, and bend. You might either be loving me or hating me right now. That's okay. We came here to work. You came here for a challenge. And that's exactly what we're doing, challenging our minds and our bodies. We have a few more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Then we lift up into our triangle, extend through right leg, lower and lift. Lower and lift, lower and lift. Keep with it. Find a point that helps you focus. You can even close your eyes to dig deep and for the mind-muscle connection. A few more here. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Then we bend through right knee, find the support, left arm overhead, and bend. Wow. Yes, on fire. Definitely working. Deep inhales and exhales, that'll help. Let's try not to rush the movement. After this, we have our stretch, our cool down, and we are done. So let's give it all we got here. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Extend the arm, extend the leg, find your triangle, lower and lift, lower and lift. Remember, you can always lower your left hand down to left hip if you need. If not, keep with the challenge, keep it lifted. Few more. Last 3, last 2, last 1. Come all the way up. Find your shoulder rolls. Oh, man. And then if you have your weighted bangles on, we'll take those off and we'll go into our cool down. So all weights are off the mat, off the body. We'll come into a standing position. First, we'll do a little bit of a shake, and then we inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bend through the elbows. Inhale, extend the arms out into a T. As you exhale, left arm comes in front of the body. Then we release, arms back out to a T. Other side, right arm in front. Then release. A little bit of a wider stance here. Right hand is on the outside of right thigh. We will lift left arm overhead. Hinge both of the hips over towards the left and find a stretch all through left side. And then we'll wrap around to the front, forward fold. Then vertebrae by vertebrae, roll yourself up. Then we'll do the other side. Left hand is on the outside of left leg. Scooch the hips to the right as you extend your right arm overhead. Find a stretch. Really stretch and reach towards the left. And then we'll wrap it around to the front, forward fold. Now start to heel toe your feet a little bit wider, so you're in a wide forward fold. Right hand comes out in front of you. Left hand reaches for somewhere on right leg, and you'll find a stretch through the left side of the back here. And then slowly release, left hand plants, right hand reaches for somewhere on left leg, same thing on this side. Find the stretch to the right side of the back, the lats. One more breath, and then slowly release. We heel toe the feet closer together, so feet come underneath the hips. Vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up to standing. Once you're at the top, you'll lift your right hand overhead. Right hand comes towards left ear, lower right ear towards right shoulder, and then you'll reach left arm down towards the feet. Stretch through the left side of the neck, the traps. I guess that was singular because we're only doing one side here. And then we'll release the head, release the hand, other side. So this time it's the left hand that comes towards right ear. Then we lower left ear to left shoulder, reach right hand down. Open through the chest, broad through the collarbones. And release the head, release the hand, and you are done with your workout today. Give yourself a round of applause. That was definitely a challenging one. Thank you so much for tuning in and working out with me today. Please be sure to hit the like button below and to leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.